Thanos exists because of Darkseid. Deadpool exists because of Deathstroke. And once you start noticing it, you can't unsee it. Marvel and DC didn't just create characters, they responded to each other. So instead of asking who copied who, let's look at what actually changed. Green Arrow versus Hawkeye. Same skill, different pressure. Green Arrow showed up first. A rich man with no powers, who decided skill was enough. Archery, precision, discipline. No super strength, no invulnerability, just accuracy. Then came Hawkeye. Same weapon, same core idea, but completely different environment. Because Hawkeye isn't dealing with street criminals. He's fighting alongside gods, aliens, super soldiers. Green Arrow fights corruption.
Leo Mueller, you have failed this city.
Hawkeye fights extinction-level threats. Same skill, different stakes, and somehow, both of them still land shots that shouldn't be possible. But sharing a weapon is one thing. Sharing an entire kingdom, that's where it gets obvious. Aquaman versus Namor. Same throne, different king. Namor isn't just another king. He was Marvel's first mutant, introduced in 1939, before most of the superhero world even existed. And he wasn't a hero. Not really. He was aggressive, unpredictable, sometimes closer to a villain than anything else. He didn't protect the surface world, he challenged it. Then comes Aquaman. Same origin, same throne, but completely different mindset. Aquaman carries responsibility, Namor carries pride. One leads, the other demands. Same kingdom, two completely different rulers. And now, we move from roles to power. Flash versus Quicksilver. Flash doesn't just run fast, he moves at the speed of thought, which means, before you even realize something happened, he's already reacted. He can outrun explosions, outrun time, sometimes even outrun consequences. There are moments where the entire world around him slows to nothing, people frozen, chaos suspended, because he's operating on a level no one else can even perceive. Then there's Quicksilver. Fast, very fast, faster than sound. Fast enough to save people mid-explosion, but still playing by the rules. Flash breaks them. And that difference? It's everything. Doctor Strange versus Dr. Fate. Dr. Fate was one of the earliest sorcerers in comics, a guardian of reality, a wielder of magic beyond comprehension. But here's the catch. That power isn't really his. Dr. Fate is a host, a vessel for an ancient entity known as Nabu, which means his strength comes from something else.
For the first time in 100 years, when I look ahead, I see nothing.
Now look at Doctor Strange. Same role, same responsibility, protector of reality, fighter of things no one else can even understand. But his power, it comes from him. His training, his discipline, his control. Dr. Fate channels power. Dr. Strange commands it. And when reality starts breaking, that difference matters a lot. And once magic enters the picture, things stop being predictable. Catwoman versus Black Cat. Catwoman set the blueprint. Agile, smart, always one step ahead, living somewhere between hero and criminal. Then comes Black Cat. Same energy, same lifestyle, same connection to the hero. But then it shifts, because Black Cat doesn't just rely on skill, she bends luck. Things go wrong, just not for her. Catwoman survives because she's good. Black Cat sometimes survives because reality just decides to help her. And honestly, that's way harder to fight against. Atom and Ant-Man share one of the strangest abilities in comics. They shrink. But it's not just about size. It's about scale. Both can go subatomic, disappear completely, enter spaces no one else can reach, but they can also go the other way, become giants, turning their bodies into weapons. Buildings become obstacles, cities become battlegrounds, and suddenly, a normal fight turns into something completely unpredictable.
No.
The difference? Execution. Adam is precise, scientific, calculated. Ant-Man? Chaotic? Improvised? Half the time it feels like he's figuring it out mid-fight, and somehow, that unpredictability makes him dangerous.
Please work! Yes!
And now, we move away from abilities into something darker.
What's this?
Batman versus Moon Knight. Batman is built on control. Every move calculated, every outcome predicted. If there's a fight, he's already planned it. Then there's Moon Knight, and at first, it looks familiar. Night-based vigilante. Money, no powers. But then it shifts. Because Moon Knight doesn't control the chaos, he is the chaos. Unpredictable, unstable, sometimes not even sure who he is.
Sorry.
Batman uses fear as a weapon. Moon Knight becomes something even worse, something you can't predict. And that's dangerous in a completely different way. Superman versus Sentry. Superman represents control, hope, power held back. He could end everything, but chooses not to. Then there's Sentry. Same look, same symbol, same idea at first glance, but completely different reality. Because Sentry doesn't just have power, he has no control over it. And worse, his power created something else, the Void, a part of him that destroys everything.
You can't outrun the emptiness.
Superman proves power can be safe. Sentry proves it can't.
She was my world, and you took her from me.
And now we get to the one where Marvel didn't even pretend. Deathstroke versus Deadpool. Deathstroke came first. Slade Wilson. Perfect soldier. Calculated. Efficient. Then came Deadpool. Wade Wilson. Same name, same foundation, and that wasn't subtle, it was intentional. But everything else? Completely flipped. One plans everything. The other barely plans anything. One is controlled, the other is chaos, and somehow, both work. Darkseid versus Thanos. Darkseid wants control, absolute control. A universe without free will, without resistance, without chaos. Then there's Thanos, who wants balance through destruction. One enslaves existence, the other erases it. And somehow, both believe they're right, and that's what makes them terrifying. Because control is predictable, conviction isn't. So are these characters copies, or something more? The truth is, this was never about copying. It's a conversation. Marvel and DC have been answering each other for decades, pushing ideas further, twisting them, improving them, and we're the ones watching it happen. Because in the end, it doesn't matter who did it first. What matters is which version you remember.